Hello friends, welcome to Learning Sessions, and today in this video we are going to learn about the securitization of the assets over there. So do watch this video till end because this is quite important chapter from the module B of the RBWM, that is retail banking and the wealth management. And if you want to get all the previous videos of RBWM and JAIIB, simply do subscribe to the channel right now and press the bell notification icon so that you get updated whenever we upload the new videos. The full courses of all the 4 papers of JAIIB is available, where we'll be covering the full course videos, chapter wise professor questions, mock test, mega mock test, and the complimentary access to all the PDFs is available simply on sign up. So do sign up right now. You can visit the link jaiib.learningsessions.in or simply visit the link from the description box below and further sign up over there and start preparing for the same. So let's start the session over here, and it's related to the securitization of the assets. Now, what do you mean by securitization of assets? Let's take the case that I'm having a class of assets, or particularly single asset over there, or multiple assets over there, which we say asset pool, and particularly now a special purpose vehicle or special purpose entity will be created for this particular purpose, which will be creating on the basis of the pool of the assets. Now this is the pool of assets. Now based on the pool of assets, this SPV or the special purpose vehicle will be creating the security receipts in which the institutional buyers or qualified institutional buyers will be investing the money, and particularly the bank who has sold this pool of assets will be getting the liquidity in first hand, right? So that's the main funda related to it. Now let's understand the different terminologies used in the same. First of all, it's related to obligor. Now obligor is actually a person who is under a contract, who is to pay a debt over there or the receivables over there, or to discharge any obligation related to the debt of receivables over there. That is said to be obligor. And the second one is related to originator. Now originator, in this case is a financial institution and the bank. Let's say case this particular financial institution or the bank is particularly selling the pool of assets over there. Now this particular bank or financial institution will be the originator. This will be the originator over there. And further, it's related to special purpose vehicle or special purpose entity. It's a particularly separate legal entity which is actually created for specific or limited purpose over there in the context of these particular financial transactions, that is a SPV. And what is sponsor? Sponsor actually means that particular purpose who is actually going to establish and promote the special purpose entity, right? Now in this scenario, let's consider this example again. XYZ is a bank who is an originator over there, and further based upon these particular assets, these assets or pool of assets were sold to sponsor. Now the sponsor bank is over here, or sponsor organization is over here, and the sponsor actually established a special purpose vehicle, and particularly this special purpose vehicle will be converting these particular asset or pool of asset into the security receipts, and these security receipts will be invested money by the qualified institutional buyers, and further the sponsor will be providing the liquidity over here. The liquidity to the originator will be provided front end, right? That's a case related to it. Now let's understand the securitization process. First of all, it's related to the asset selection. Like I told you, it can be a single asset also, and also it can be a pool of assets where different assets will be pooled together, right? So asset selection is basically related to identifying a single asset or pool of assets. It can be related to mortgages, it can be related to credit card loans or receivables or any other asset also there which can be used under the securitization. Further, it's related to after that particular you have selected the asset or a pool of asset over there. After that, you will be creating a special purpose vehicle or the special purpose entity over there. Now special purpose vehicle is actually a separate legal entity, and further which is having a specified or some limited purpose over there, right? And after that, it's related to asset transfer and immediate payment transfer over there. Now, once the ownership of these pool of assets is transferred to the special purpose vehicle over there, the funds or liquidity will be immediately be given to the originator over there. That's main purpose of this particular transaction. So in return to the transfer of the assets to the special purpose vehicle, the originator or the bank will be receiving a immediate cash payment or the other securities which are issued by the SPV. So it's not the case that the originator will be getting just the cash. It will be getting the cash plus also will be getting a share in the security receipts over there, so that the originator will be participating in the whole process of managing the credits also, right? And further, it's related to the repackaging of securities. Now, after particularly the payment has been made and the assets have been transferred to the special purpose vehicle over there, the special purpose of vehicle based on the securities will be creating the security receipts. So the security receipts over here will be created and further will be structured them into the marketable securities, which are known as the asset backed securities, and further based on that these securities will be issued as a debt security to the qualified institutional buyers. Now, these security receipts, or we say the pass-through certificates, will be issued to the qualified institutional investors, pension funds, individuals, and further these are basically said to be what? These are the debt instruments. These are the debt instruments over here, right? So that's the funda. And after that, it's related to, let's understand the different stages in the securitization process. First of all, it's related to asset sale to SPV. So that's the first stage when the assets will be sold to the SPV over there. And after that, the stage 2 is related to the issuance of the tradable debt securities, that is the SR, that the security receipts will be issued. And further, the transaction will be given, the transaction amount will be given to whom? It will be given to the originator, right? And further, it's related to, let's understand the advantages of securitization. Now, let's say case that the originator, the assets were blocked, and let's say case there was pool of NP or the non-performing assets. Now the liquidity is actually, the originator is having a liquidity crunch over there, right? And originator wants a liquidity, but there is no liquidity or there is no movement in the accounts over there. Now in that scenario, the originator can be selling these accounts to some asset reconstruction company and further can be getting the liquidity over there. That's the first benefit. The other benefit, it's related to risk mitigation. Now the risk is actually removed from the balance sheet of the originator, right? So securitization actually allows the banks to transfer the risk associated with the assets to the investors, because once the pool of asset has been transferred to the special purpose vehicle will be repackaging it into securities and further will be issuing the security receipts. Now based upon these security receipts, the risk is actually transferred from the originating bank to the investors over there, right? That's the second benefit over there. And also it's related to capital adequacy. But let's say case now the particular assets which were the high risk assets or some other assets, those have been removed from your balance sheet. So once those have been removed from your balance sheet, you need not to create the required capital for the same assets over there. Let's say case you are to maintain, the banks are to maintain the CRAR, that is a capital risk weighted asset ratio, or we simply say it's CR, capital adequacy ratio, that is to be maintained. Now the particular assets have been removed from the balance sheet. In that scenario, this extra CAR or CRAR is not to be maintained, okay? And also it may lead to you diversification, because it's not related to that you have particularly invested into the assets over there. You can be converting these assets as a particular exposure into the security receipts over there. Now by converting these assets by the way of special purpose vehicle into security receipts, now you're having the exposure related to the capital market also, because you are not only dealing with the traditional deposit, you are also particularly have invested the money into the security receipts, which may be the debt instruments over there, right? Now let's understand the RBI's new directives for securitization of the standard assets loan transfer over there. So in this particular regard, Reserve Bank of India has already issued the guidelines, already has conveyed the directions for the transfer of loan exposures for the securitization of the standard assets, and these guidelines are applicable to all the scheduled commercial banks, excluding the regional rural banks, excluding particularly all India financial institutions and small finance bank, NBFCs. So that is not covered in this purview, but it is applicable to all the scheduled commercial banks over there, right? So if we look at the methods of securitization, we are having the two methods of securitization. One, it's related to the through securitization, and the other one it's related to the direct assignment over there. Other one it's related to direct assignment over there. Now when we are talking about the methods of securitization, through securitization, it's the same manner. Like I told you, the pool of assets or the pool of assets will be sold to sponsor, and a special purpose vehicle will be created. Special purpose vehicle will be creating the security receipts, and further the investors will be investing into those security receipts. That's actually the through securitization. But there is particularly prescribed MRR. Now what is MRR? MRR is minimum retention requirement, that what amount or what proportion or what percentage of security receipts are minimally to be retained by the as the securitized assets by the originator. So the originator, that is a bank who has actually transferred the assets over there, they are to retain the minimum number of these security receipts with them till this particular scheme is in particular detail over there, right? So that is to be done. So as I told you that MRR is related to what? This is the minimum retention requirement, that this particular minimum portion of the securitized assets must be maintained in the books of the originator over there, right? So it basically encourages, as I told you, it encourages the responsible securitization practices, aligns interest of originator with the investors over there, and overall improves the asset quality, right? Now in case of the through securitization process, the MRR, particularly for those asset class where the maturity or the underlying maturity of the particular asset is lesser than or equal to 24 months, in that scenario it is 5% of the book value, and further where the maturity of the underlying loan or asset is greater than 24 months and bullet repayment is applicable, in that scenario the MRR is 10%. So the cases where the bullet repayment is applicable and further where the underlying loans are having maturity greater than 24 months, 10% of the MRR is applicable. Let's say case 100 crores of total security receipts were issued. In that scenario, 10 crores of the security receipts are to be retained by the originator over there. That's particularly this meant to be, right? And further where it's the case of the residential mortgage backed securities, in that scenario also it is 5% of the book value of the loans. In all the cases it's 5% or 10% of the book of the loans or book value of the loans over there. So in scenario where the maturity is up to 24 months, it's 5%, where it is greater than 24 months or the bullet payments, it's 10%, and further it's related to a residential mortgage, it is 5% again. Further, it's related to assets not eligible for securitization under the through securitization process. So the revolving credit facilities such as the credit card, cash credit accounts or credit card receivables, those are not actually eligible for the securitization process over there, and it's quite important point to note down over here. It's quite important point to note down over here that the revolving credit facilities are not eligible, and for the assets which have been purchased from other entities. Let's say case the A bank has purchased the loan from the B entity over there. Now securitization on those particular assets cannot be done because those assets have been purchased from the other entity over there. So securitization cannot be done on those cases. And for the securitization exposures such as mortgage backed or asset backed securities, right? So on those cases cannot be done. And for the loans with the bullet repayment of both interest and principal, in those cases also those are not eligible for securitization. And if we look for the minimum holding period, originator retains the securitized asset for a specified duration as we have discussed above, so that is to be retained, right? Further, the second method of securitization is through direct assignment. It can be done through the direct assignment over there. Now in case of direct assignment, the loan will be directly be assigned to the other person over there. Now the risk is assigned, and particularly they can be not risk is assigned, but in that case what will be happening that this particular person B, let's say this is the assignee to whom the loan has been assigned, and further A is a signer. A is a assigned. Now in this scenario, what can happen? In this scenario, when the loan is assigned, B is the rightful owner so as to particularly receive the repayments over there, right? That's actually the related to through direct assignment over there. And in that scenario also, minimum retention requirement is if the loan is having maturity less than 24 months, equal to 24 months or greater than 24 months, it is 5% in all the scenarios in case of particular through retention or through assignment over there. And for the even if it's related to residential mortgage backed securities, it is 5%, right? And assets which are not eligible, same case is there, like particularly revolving credit facilities or credit cards or particular receivables, those are not applicable. And for the assets which have been purchased from the other entities or securitization exposures or loans which are having the bullet repayment of both principal and interest, those are not eligible, right? And minimum holding period or MRR would be applicable, as we have discussed, that is 5% of the book value of the loans, right? Now after that, it's related to accounting and classification of MRR. Now in the case that there is a transfer of pool of loans over there other than the retail loans, right? Let's say case there are pooling of the loans, but these are not retail loans. These are not retail loans over there. Then in that scenario, the originator should be maintaining borrower wise account. Okay, in that scenario, if it is not related to retail account, in that scenario, the originator, that the bank will be maintaining the borrower wise account. Let's say case 3 accounts were transferred, A, B, C, 3 loan accounts were transferred. Okay, now in that scenario, the 3 different accounts of A, B, C will be maintained where they will be retaining the MRR. Let's say the maturity was greater than 24 months, in that scenario 10% of the MRR that is to be maintained over there, right? That would be the part related to, that would be related to proportionate account that will be containing. Let's say case A was worth rupees 100 crore, B was worth rupees 200 crore, and for the C was worth rupees 200 crore. So in that scenario 10 crore for A, 20 crore for B and C is to be maintained. Okay. Okay, so that's the funda related to it. After that, it's related to securitization of NPS. Now, NPS can also be securitized, like in the case of the bad banks, or what happens, there is pooling of loan NPS, which are NPA, that is non-performing assets, and further those loans will be transferred to asset reconstruction company. Asset reconstruction company will be retaining those loans, and further will be making efforts as to recover the loans over there. And after that particular period, the security receipts can be issued, and further the liquidity can be maintained. Right, so that's a scenario, and upfront the payment is made to the bank, which is the originator, right? And 15% payment is made in the form of a cash payment, and for the rest of the payment, 85% of the payment is made in the form of the security receipts over there, right? Now, when we're talking about the securitization of the NPAs, first of all, it's related to selling the stressed assets. So in that scenario, the NPAs, which are the non-performing assets, those will be sold to the ARCs, that is the asset reconstruction company, and further offering assets to diverse buyers. It's not the case that these particular assets will be sold to single particular buyer only. These will be sold to different classes of buyer, like to banks, financial institutions, or maybe more buyers could be, and also a particular public bid can be conducted, so that you will be getting a fair value for the same, right? And after that, it's related to acquisition of stressed financial assets by the ARCs over there. Now, acquisition of multiple assets and linked collaterals over there. Let's say case, it may be the case that a particular debtor, that is particular borrower, is having the loan accounts with different banks. It's having the loan account with XYZ bank, and also with the PQR bank, and also with the other bank over there. Now in that scenario, the ARC can actually be acquiring the loan of the same particular debtor from these different institutions, and further can be creating the charge upon the same, right? So as to facilitate faster realization, so the asset reconstruction company can be considering so as to acquire all the financial institution from the single debtor to various bank or financial institutions over there. Those can be taken, and further it may also be the case that the financial asset linked to same collateral can also be acquired, right? Like let's say case, say the collateral which was particularly on charge was created by the banks over there, so the ARC can be acquiring those particular debts on which the charge was created, so as that they can hasten the recovery process. Further, it's related to inclusion of fund and non-fund based assets over there. So even though the asset belonged to the SMA2 category, now there were different categories. We talked about SMA0, SMA1, SMA2 category. Now SMA0 is related to where the default is ranging from 1 to 30 days, and when the default is ranging from 31 to 60 days, it is SMA1, and when it is ranging from 61 days to 90 days, it is SMA2 over here, right? Now I'm just telling you that the assets which are classified as SMA2, that is special mention account 2 over there in the books of the originator, can also be acquired by the ARCs over there, and further the transfer of assets to the trust. Now in case of the ARC, a particular trust will be created, which will be handling these particular different assets over there. So these particular assets which have been acquired by the ARCs will be transferred to this particular trust over there, and once ARC acquires those financial assets, these are transferred to the trust which is established by the ARC, and transfer will be done at a price at which these particular assets have been acquired by the ARC, right? By the ARC over there, right? And further, there is a resolution period after that. Now ARC, as I told you, will be making efforts so as to resolve the acquired assets with a normal period of 5 years. So it will be taking 5 years, but with the board particular visibility, with the particular board answers over there, the particular resolution period can be extended up to maximum of 8 years from the original acquisition date. Okay, so otherwise the case is to be resolved within 5 years, but the ARC can be extending this particular period to 8 years also in such scenarios, right? And further, it's related to issue of security receipts. Like I told you, ARC is going to issue the security receipts through a dedicated trust established solely for this particular purpose. So trust will be handling the particular assets, and also it will be creating a special purpose vehicle for the same purpose, which will be converting these particular assets, acquired assets, into the security receipts over there, right? Now, the assets can only be issued to whom? These can only be issued to qualified institutional buyers and not other than that. So only the qualified institutional buyers will be investing upon the same, and there are the disclosure requirements for these particular ARCs, so that the transparency is maintained over there. So that's the case. And for the, it's lead to minimum investment in ARC. So ARCs are required that if, let's say, 100 crore worth of rupees particular assets are created, it's required for the ARC that they will be maintaining 15% of the security receipts with them on till the expiration of the each scheme over there. Let's say case each particular one ARC created different trust. Let's say it created 10 different trusts for the purpose of the different transactions. For each of the schemes so created, the ARC will be maintaining at least 15% of the security receipts with it, right? And for the this particular percentage of security receipts, minimum percentage of security receipts, this is to be maintained till the redemption of the security receipts, right? So till the redemption it is to be maintained. After that, it's related to bad bank. Now the bad banks are what? Bad banks are these are the asset reconstruction companies. These are what? These are the asset reconstruction companies which are going to buy the bad loans from the commercial banks, and they will be managing them, and they will be selling them in the market and will be recovering the money. Okay, so they will be getting the funds, they will be getting the assets acquired from the commercial banks, and further those will be bought by the bad banks over there. And once they have acquired those particular funds, in that scenario securitization process will be there, that they will be creating a special purpose vehicle, and for the security receipts will be issued, and liquidity is provided to the originator over there. For this particular purpose, we are having the NARCL and IDRCL. NARCL is what? It is National Asset Reconstruction Company. National Asset Reconstruction Company. So NARCL was what? It is Asset Reconstruction Company which is incorporated so as to take over and dispose of the stressed assets of the commercial banks, right? And what are the different features? That it was actually started with the starting capital of rupees 6,000 crore. So in very starting, it was having a starting capital of rupees 6,000 crore. In October 2021, NARCL actually received the RBI's license so as to enable it to commence operations as a bad bank. So in 2021, it basically got its certificate, and public sector banks are having 51% stake in the NARCL, right? And further, how NARCL will be taking over the bad loans? In the first phase, NARCL will be acquiring the stressed assets worth about rupees 2 lakh crore. So worth about rupees 2 lakh crore rupees NPAs, which will be purchased by the NARCL, and further these will be acquired. These stressed assets are acquired by paying 15% cash to the banks, to the originator, and rest 85% is paid in the form of security receipts to the banks over there, right? So that's the process. So banks will be getting the liquidity, and after that it's related to IDRCL. Now IDRCL was actually set up so as to work with NARCL, so that IDRCL can work with the NARCL so as to clean up the loans. So the main purpose of the IDRCL is actually to clean up the loans. That is a India Debt Resolution Company Limited. Okay, so their objective is what? Their objective is to sell off the bank's stressed assets in the market. So they will be selling the stressed assets in the market over there. So NARCL is actually purchasing the bad loan, and IDRCL will be helping so as to sell off these loans in the market over there, right? And for the private sector entities are having 51% ownership in the IDRCL over there, and banks get benefit from the bad banks. How come they are going to get benefit from the bad banks? So NARCL actually encourages the quicker resolution. Quicker resolution is there, and for the better value realization. Otherwise the NP is worth nothing, so they can be getting something out of it. And for the bank can freeing up their personnel, because otherwise bank are to do the recovery efforts, so now they do not have to do the recovery efforts, and further they can be focusing on their credit growth. And further it will be enhancing the bank's ability to raise market capital. They will be getting another liquidity over there, and also the bank's valuation is improved. Also the bank valuation is improved if there is lower level of NP in the bank over there, right? So these are the benefits of the banks from the bad banks over there. So that will be all related to this particular video. I hope that you must have enjoyed the session. So do rate this video out of 10 at the earliest, and do not forget to like this video and share this video among your friends and colleagues. And if you want to get the free PDFs of all the 4 papers of JAIIB, simply do sign up on our website jaiib.learningsessions.in. The link is available in the description box below. Sign up over there and navigate to the PDF section, where you'll be finding all the PDFs available at one place. So that will be all. Thank you so much, and see you again in the next video.